All right, I want to take a few minutes to explain something clearly because the conversations here lately are a perfect example of why Big Rig Nation exists. There's been a lot of noise, a lot of opinions, and a lot of people trying to turn this platform into something it was never meant to be. Big Rig Nation was never created to be a gotcha channel. It was created to be a driver's first platform. Big Rig Nation is for drivers. It always has been. What we do is simple. We call out bad actors and we promote the good ones. Those two things have to exist together. If all you do is expose problems without offering solutions, that's not advocacy. That's just noise. Drivers deserve, better than that. And let me also be honest about something. Big Rig Nation has to make money. We have to keep the lights on. We have to pay the people who work here so we can continue doing what we do best, which is helping drivers. That doesn't change our mission. It supports it. Any driver who's worked with us will tell you the same thing. We help drivers make better decisions, get into better situations, and improve their financial outcomes. You have to understand there is hundreds of thousands of drivers right now working under systems that are stacked against them. Bad contracts, bad structures, and bad information. And many companies control that narrative by teaching drivers only what fits their internal model, not the full picture. And I want to explain something about the owner operator settlement that we just shared. I stayed quiet on purpose. I wanted to watch the comments and see how people would interpret it. There's an old saying, people reveal their assumptions before they reveal their conclusions. And honestly, what I saw was really surprising. A lot of drivers couldn't distinguish the difference between an owner operator settlement and a lease purchase settlement. Many immediately tried to compare the two, and many tried to make it as one. That's a problem because these two are very different models in trucking. That told me I need to do a better job showing the differences more clearly. So going forward, you're going to see more real settlements, more examples, and more breakdowns so drivers can learn how to read what they actually are looking at instead of forcing everything into one framework. That's not about calling anyone out. That's about education. The settlement I shared was a true owner-operator settlement. That means the driver owns the truck, the driver has their own fuel card, the driver handles fuel and truck payments independently. So no, fuel does not appear on that settlement. No, truck payments do not appear on that settlement either. That is exactly what a real owner-operator settlement looks like. A lot of people assumed it was a lease purchase when it wasn't. And the easiest way to know that is there's no 88% lease purchase model in the United States. If you see 88% of gross, you're not looking at a lease purchase, period. Okay. A lot of the criticism we saw was people saying we weren't being transparent because fuel and truck payments weren't shown. That's not a lack of transparency. That's it's a misunderstanding of the model. What we showed was a real owner operator settlement. And like we've always said, we show real documents. We don't recreate them. We don't dress them up. We show them as they actually exist. I really don't even know if that owner operator's truck is paid off. I don't know who his fuel card is even with. And honestly, it would be awkward and unnecessary for me to ask a driver to show me his truck financing paperwork or his fuel card agreements just to satisfy the internet. That information doesn't belong on an owner-operator settlement anyway. If someone can't already distinguish the difference between a lease purchase settlement and an owner-operator settlement, adding even more unrelated paperwork is only going to create more confusion, not clarity. The goal isn't to overwhelm drivers with documents. The goal is to teach drivers how to correctly read the document they're actually looking at. And for those of you who've been doing this long enough, really, you should already know this. When you look at an owner-operator settlement, you can see the loads, you can see the miles, and you can make a reasonable estimate of what the fuel burn looked like. From there, you plug in your own fuel cost and you plug in whatever truck payment applies to your situation. That's how owner-operators actually analyze numbers in the real world. Every truck payment is different. Every fuel card is going to be different. Every operation is going to be different. The settlement isn't meant to give you exact numbers. It's meant to show you the structure. What matters is whether the structure makes sense once you apply your own costs. That's the distinction a lot of people completely missed. What also happened is people tried to analyze that settlement using the model that they learned at their own company. Some carriers train drivers to anchor heavily on FSC as a line item. That works inside that system, but it does not translate across the entire industry. Here's the part that a lot of drivers didn't realize. Many companies that loudly show FSC are also quietly destroying drivers with other deductions. Some carriers train drivers to anchor heavily on FSC as a line item. That works inside that system, but it does not translate across the industry. And here's the part a lot of drivers don't realize. Many companies that loudly show FSC are also quietly destroying the drivers with other deductions. They highlight FSC because it looks transparent, while the real damage happens everywhere else. Maintenance account, escrow, insurance markups, admin fees, trailer rent, and other deductions that slowly eat away at the settlement. So drivers end up focused on whether the FSC is shown instead of asking the real questions. What am I actually netting after everything? FSC is a pricing mechanism. This is what what I'm talking about when I say FSC is the fuel surcharge. And most brokered freight today, it's baked already into the total rate. It's not paid as a separate pool of money. On a true owner-operator lease-on, the carrier is not buying fuel, not advancing fuel, and not deducting fuel. So no one is taking a percentage of fuel because fuel is not part of the settlement account. The only thing that matters is whether the total rate on the rate confirmation is honest and what the driver keeps after all the costs. Labels don't change economics. Net does. I shared that settlement for one reason, to show that a dry van owner-operator can make good money when they are in the right structure. That's it. It wasn't a comparison. It wasn't an attack. It wasn't meant to embarrass anyone. It was education. We have never hidden the fact that we recruit in certain divisions. We're big in open deck freight. That's not a secret. We work with companies that do right by drivers, companies that aren't stealing, companies that aren't skimming, and companies that are very transparent. And yes, showing that makes a lot of these people doing the critiquing uncomfortable. And I'm fine with that. A lot of people were upset about the immigration videos that we did. And this is where I draw the line on this. And if you're here illegally and working in trucking, you shouldn't be here. That hurts drivers. But if you're here legally, Big Rig Nation stands with you. Work for the drivers, period. The real issue isn't drivers versus drivers. The real issue is the system. That's what we focus on. That's what we challenge. Big Rig Nation is here to stay. We're going to educate. We're going to continue to educate drivers. We're going to call out bad actors, promote good actors, and help drivers move into positions where they actually win. There's a reason people are here. There's a reason this platform keeps growing. We stand behind what we do, and we're not going to change our course.